Magic Treehouse, Book Number 1, Dinosaur Before Dark, by Mary Pope Osborne. Chapter 1, Into the Woods. Help! A monster, said Annie. Yeah, sure, said Jack. A real monster in Frog Creek, Pennsylvania. Run, Jack, said Annie. She ran up the road. Oh, brother. This is what he got for spending time with his 7-year-old sister. Annie loved pretend stuff, but Jack was 8.5. He liked real things. Watch out, Jack! A monster coming! Race you! No thanks, said Jack. Annie raced alone into the woods. Jack looked at the sky. The sun was about to set. Come on, Annie, it's time to go home. But Annie has disappeared. Jack waited. No Annie. Annie, he shouted again. Jack, come here. Jack groaned. This better be good, he says. Jack left the roads and headed into the woods. The trees were lit with the golden late afternoon light. Come here, called Annie. There she was, standing under the tall oak tree. Look, she says. She was pointing at the rope ladder. The longest rope ladder Jack has ever seen. Wow, he whispered. The ladder went all the way up to the top of the tree. There, at the top, was a treehouse. It was stuck between two branches. That must be the highest treehouse in the world, said Annie. Who built it? Asked Jack. I've never seen it before. I don't know, but I'm going up, said Annie. No, we don't know whose belong to, said Jack. Just for a teeny minute, said Annie. She started up the ladder. Annie, come back. She kept climbing. Jack sighed. Annie, it's almost dark. We have to go home. Annie has disappeared inside the treehouse. Annie! Jack waited a moment. He was about to call again when Annie poked her head out of the treehouse window. Books! She shouted. What? It filled with books! Oh man, Jack loved books. He pushed his glasses into place. He gripped the side of the rope ladder and up he went. Chapter 2, The Monster. Jack crawled through the holes in the treehouse floor. Wow, the treehouse was filled with books. Books everywhere, very old books with dusty covers, new books with shiny bright cover. Look, you can see far, far away, said Annie. She was peering out the treehouse window. Jack looked out the window with her. Down below were the top of the other trees. In the distance, he saw the Frog Creek Library, the elementary school, the park. Annie pointed in the other directions. There's our house, she says. Sure enough, there was their white wooden house with the green porch. Next door was a neighbor black dog's Henry. He looked very tiny. Hi, Henry, shouted Annie. Shush, said Jack. We're not supposed to be up here. He glanced around the treehouse again. I wonder who owns all those books, he says. He noticed bookmarks were sticking out of many of them. I like this one, said Annie. She held up books with a castle on the cover. Here's a book about Pennsylvania, said Jack. He turned to the page with a bookmark. Hey, there's a picture of Frog Creek in here, said Jack. It's a picture of these woods. Oh, here's a book for you, said Annie. She held up books about dinosaurs. The blue silk mark was sticking out of it. Let me see it. Jack set down his backpack and grabbed a book from her. You look at that one, and I'll look at the one about castle, said Annie. No, we better not, said Jack. We don't know who these books belongs to. But even as he said this, Jack opened the dinosaur books to where the bookmark was. He couldn't help himself. He turned to the picture of an ancient flying reptile, the pteranodon. He touched the huge bat-like wings. "Wow," whispered Jack. "I wish I could see the pteranodon for real." Jack stared at the picture of the odd-looking creature soaring through the sky. "Ah!" screamed Annie. "What?" said Jack. "A monster!" Annie cried. She pointed to the treehouse window. "Stop pretending, Annie," said Jack. "No, really," said Annie. Jack looked out the window. The giant creature was gliding above the treetops. He has a long, weird crest on the back of his head, a skinny beak, and huge bat-like wings. It was a real-life pteranodon. The creature crawled through the sky. He was coming straight toward the treehouse. He looked like a glitter plane. The winds began to blow. The leaves trembled. Suddenly, the creature snarled up, high into the sky. Jack nearly fell out the window trying to see it. The wind picked up. It was whistling now. The treehouse started to spin. "What's happening?" cried Jack. "Get down!" shouted Annie. Jack pulled him back from the window. The treehouse was spinning, faster and faster. Jack squeezed his eyes shut. He held on to Annie. But everything was still. Absolutely still. Jack opened his eyes. Sunlight shone through the window. There was Annie, the books, his backpack. The treehouse was still high up in an oak tree, but it wasn't the same oak tree. Chapter 3. Where is Here? Jack looked out the window. He looked down at the picture in the books. He looked back at the window. The world outside and the worlds in the picture. They were exactly the same. The pteranodon was snorting through the sky. The ground was covered with ferns and tall grass. There was a winding streams, a sloped hill, the volcanoes in the distance. "Where's are we?" stumbled Jack. The pteranodon glided down to the base of the tree. The creature caused to the stop and stood very still. "What's happening to us?" said Annie. She looked at Jack. He looked at her. "I don't know," said Jack. "I was looking at the picture in the books, and you said, 'Wow, I wish I could see the pteranodon for real,'" said Annie. "Yeah, and then we saw one in the Frog Creek woods," said Jack. "Yeah, and then winds got loud, and the tree started to spin." Start spinning," said Annie. "And we landed here," said Jack. "And we landed here," said Annie. "So that means," said Jack. "So that means what?" said Annie. "Nothing," said Jack. He shook his head. None of this can be real." Annie looked out the window again. "But he's real," she says. "He's very real." Jack looked out the window with her. The pteranodon was standing at the base of the oak tree, like a guard. His giant wings were spread out of each side of him. "Hi!" Annie shouted. "Shush," said Jack. "We're not supposed to be up here." "We're not supposed to be here." "But where is here?" said Annie. "I don't know," said Jack. "Hi!" Annie shouted. Annie called again to the creature. The pteranodon looked up at them. "Where is here?" Annie called down. "You're naughty, can't talk," said Jack. "Maybe the books can tell us." Jack looked down at the book. He read the words under the picture. The flying reptiles lives in the Cretaceous period. It vanished 65 million ago. No, impossible. They couldn't have landed in the time 65 million ago. Jack, said Annie. He's nice. Nice? Yeah, I can tell. Let's go down and talk to him. Talk to him? Annie started down the rope ladder. Hey, shouted Jack. But Annie kept going. Are you crazy? Jack called. Annie dropped to the ground. She stepped broadly to the ancient creature. Chapter 4. Henry. Jack gasped as Annie held out her hands. Oh, brother. She was always trying to make friends with animals, but this was going too far. Don't get too close to him, Annie, Jack shouted. But Annie touched the pteranodon cast. She stroked his neck. She was talking to him. What in the world was she saying? Jack took a deep breath. Okay, he would go down too. It would be good to explain the creature. Take notes like a scientist. Jack started down the rope ladder. When he got to the ground, Jack was only a few feet away from the creature. The creature stared at Jack. His eyes were bright and alert. He's soft, Jack, said Annie. He feels like Henry. Jack snored. He's no Henry, Annie. Feel him, Jack, said Annie. Jack didn't move. Don't think, Jack. Just do it. Jack stepped forward. He put out his arm very confidently. He brushed his hands down the creature's neck. Interesting. A thin layer of fuzz covered the pteranodon skins. Soft, huh? said Annie. Jack reached into his backpack and pulled out the pencils and a notebook. He wrote, Fuzzy skins. What are you doing? asked Annie. Taking notes, said Jack. We're probably the first peoples in the whole world to ever see the real live pteranodon. Jack looked at the pteranodon again. The creature has a body squint on top of his head. The crest was longer than Jack's arm. I wonder how smart he is, Jack says. Very smart, said Annie. Don't count on it, said Jack. His brain's probably no bigger than the beans. No, he's very smart. I can feel it, said Annie. I'm going to call him Henry. Jack wrote in his notebook. Small brains? Jack looked at the creature again. Maybe he's a mammoth, he says. The creature tilted his head. Annie laughed. He's no mammoth, Jack. Well, what he doing here then? Where is this place? Said Jack. Annie leaned close to the pteranodon. Do you know where we are, Henry? She said softly. The creature fixed his eyes on Annie. His long jaw was opening and closing, like a giant pair of scissors. Are you trying to talk to him, Henry? Talk to me, Henry? Asked Annie. Forget it, Annie. Jack wrote in his notebook. Mouth like scissors? Did we come to the time long ago, Henry? Asked Annie. Is this a place from long ago? Suddenly she gasped. Jack! Jack looked up. Annie was pointing toward a hill. On top stood a huge dinosaur.